are on the other side, and it's not going to be that way. There are too many of us in the military. There are too many of us who think this way. There are too few politicians that think this way, and that is where our problem lies.
Yes, no, absolutely, I agree. It, you know, getting back to Vance's comment first, yeah, when you look at what you see in today's new generation, they've never, ever, ever faced anything as to what we're talking about. Okay, ever. There's a few of them.
We haven't either.
We haven't either. Some
But
of us
we're raised to
maybe,
be men.
but some of us, at least, some of them came through the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War. But there has been that. But for the most part, the ones right now, like you said, the ones sitting at home that are still in school or college, they haven't seen nothing, haven't done nothing. They don't care. They don't understand that. Yeah, they can go out and rah, rah, rah. You guys are bad. Take your guns away.
Yeah.
And then they say, we're coming after you. Oh,
Sitting behind a keyboard and they've never been punched in the face before.
I can tell you right now, they don't even have the fortitude to even get up there and get in the hand-to-hand, just a fist fight. They just don't have it.
Mike Tyson, for all his problems, had one great comment that he made in his life, and it says, everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the face.
That's right. I'd put it to you this way. I mean, like I always tell people, you got to be in enough fights and get your ass creamed before you get good at it, right? I mean, I did. I wasn't always the winner. In fact, I was on the losing end of that. But eventually you learn. I can tell you right now, one thing I noticed, the guy that comes up and starts getting in your face but never throws down, he's already afraid of you. Just punch him. Give him a good throat punch. He's going down. Don't go up and talk.
In one of the interviews that I've done, I think, Clay, you might have been at that one down there years ago. I was asked in an interview, of all your street fights and all the trouble you ever got into, what'd you learn? How to take a punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I win them all? Not even. But learn how to take a punch and move on.
Exactly.
I show pictures of my son, me, and my dad. And there's one thing that I tell Jack all the time is that the Deacons boys do not know how to duck a punch. Because you look at me and my dad's face, the noses are, we're not pretty anymore. And I says, my son's still handsome, but unless if he takes over their house, it's going to be kind of rough on him. But, yeah.
I was prepared for this, guys. I just went ahead and I'm now connected to my personal my personal page on YouTube. So if you go look for CP, that's me over there. You should be able to find. I just put it in the comments. That is now the live stream coming through over on, I believe on YouTube. I believe it is. So go check it out.
Jamie, look at Jamie's comment. He makes a very good point there.
Yeah, Jamie says, if ARs are worthless against government weapons, why do the leftists want them banned so badly? Exactly. Why, if they're so ineffective and so bad? Not only that, I'll add to that, Jamie, and you and I talked about this on the show when they started shipping to Ukraine. Then how come they're shipping ARs to Ukraine? Because that's what they were doing. This is the first time, and we made a big deal about it, how the AR-15 is now officially a weapon of war. Because it wasn't up to that point. But they were shipping AR-15s over to Ukraine. If they're so ineffective, why ship them over there? Yeah. So the guy that you're talking about on Reddit, that's always, you can't take on an F-15 or an F-16 or F-22, depending on if you're Biden and delusional, don't know which century you're in or year. But right now, that's not what we're talking about, guys. Yeah, they could bomb us. I don't know if you're going to see a lot of that because I don't know what it would look like. I think you'd see more hand-to-hand combat troops coming in, troops on the ground out of other countries, and it's going to be an actual fight that way. I mean, they're going to have air support, but there's ways to litigate that. And I don't believe for a minute that every one of our military men and women is going to go against us.
No. In fact, I would venture to say that the majority is probably going to be for us.
I think so. Dave, he chimes in here. He says, isn't the 1911 shot down a zero, didn't it? Yeah. You can. Well, the guy that said that, Mike, obviously does not understand what guns actually can do.
Yeah. But that's the constant argument you see online all the time, though. It's like, you're just a bunch of yahoos that are, mouthing off.
I think you can take on the military and blah, blah, blah. first of all, I don't want to. I don't want this to happen. You and I, and we've all said this. But if it comes, this is the scenario. What would happen? What would we do? I don't know. I don't know.
And the reality is they've got the weapons to mass destruct the American people. But we, the American people, are willing to die fighting for our rights that they are trying daily to strip from us.
Yep.
And like I said, I've been south of the border. I traveled all the way through Mexico for close to a year, then made it to lovely Guatemala. Sorry, I have these nice flashbacks about Guatemala. And like I always say, there's 7 or 8 active volcanoes in Guatemala that if we had our way, I wish we could control the weather and volcanoes, because Guatemala just needs to go. But the rest of it down below that, perfectly fine. And, I went through Central America and then bombed down to Brazil and worked down there for a long time. And, that was my youth. I like to think it was my youth. And, it was a good time. But,
Mike, she can't find you anymore.
Well, I'm more worried about statute of limitations for other countries personally, but anyway. So, and like I said, I ended up working for gold mines in Brazil for a while, until I basically lost so much weight that I think I was going to die, because unless you're acclimated to that weather, it's too hot and you can't take in enough calories in a day unless you're living rich. But yeah, it was an experience. But we're talking about the haves and the have-nots. Just like, see, my way of thinking is that Brazil is a prime example. Sao Paulo, where I was, had all these shanty towns all completely piling up on top or at the bottom of the mountain, going all the way up. And as it goes up, it gets nicer. And and crap rolls downhill is basically what it is. The have-nots are at the top of the hill and everyone else is at the bottom. Well, that's how I feel right now in the United States, is that the haves, which are politicians that are milking their positions instead of doing it as a civil servant, are milking the system to make themselves millionaires and billionaires. And you look at the guys like Menendez, with gold bars stashed inside his closet, this and that, all over the place, with all the markings on it showing what countries they came from. And yet, this is just a political witch hunt that against me and my wife. Everybody keeps gigantic piles of gold bars stashed in their closet. Yeah, that's just
what's wrong with that.
Well, no, I mean, it's one thing, but if you're smart enough, you'd have a safe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy that way, but not stashed in your laundry bag. But it's the bad thing. Politicians are lying to us 100%, and they're hoping that we keep buying the bull that they keep throwing at us, and really, it goes down to the thing of football games and all this other crap and stuff that we are constantly, daily deluged with, saying that this is what's important to you, that Taylor Swift is at a football game, or that this is going on, or whatever, or Cher, or whoever's got new hips, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that's what constantly is showing up on our news stations. The left news stations are constantly barraging us with things that don't matter. And everyone's following along. For decades, people have continued to fall for that trap and to sit there and watch these reality shows, which are now basically, news stations are nothing but reality, or I should say unreality shows. I mean, it is a complete and utter farce.
They're unreality. I like that. Unreality. So, hey, I just was checking a few things out. Okay. Yes, we are live, of course, over at 701 Nation. So it's JD if you're looking for it. But if you want to search it in the bar, it's at JD701 Nation. It is live over there. It's failing on our other one for some reason. Again, we are live on my own personal one on YouTube. So we're still there. Most likely next week, we'll have to stream to that as well, because if they don't overturn this, then they'll nix us for a week. Then we got people that evidently switched over to Rumble, so good to see you over there. The comments I can see if I look over at the other screen, but they won't show up here. And of course, there's always Facebook, and it looks like a lot of people switched on there. So thanks, guys, for sticking with us. Again, this is the second
That's what
time
you got to go through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm putting us on our hunting pages right now. Maybe we can get banned too.
Yeah. So Josh Patterson, he chimes in here. Taylor Swift is being shoved down our throats because she will endorse Biden after the Super Bowl. She endorsed him once in the National Felon League. I like that. He's loving the publicity. Yeah, they're getting a lot of publicity. I don't watch the NFL. I would love to say I quit watching them. I've never watched them. I could care less. I really don't care about a bunch of overpaid
You were
people.
made to go to one game.
Yeah, I was made to go to. You know all about
The
that.
bird guys.
Yeah,
Hey, I had fun with it, didn't I? Wasn't that the best commentary you ever read?
it was.
I'll be at the biggest game of the year next week.
The mining fellers and the bird guys.
Yeah. But I mean,
Guys.
I don't have a problem. Taylor Swift is got a platform and she's using it, and I think she's using it wrong. And that's fine, because that is what America's about. And you know what? That's fine. Do the thing. But you know what? The networks are using that to cram down everybody. Like, that's the only thing that's going on. Like, we didn't just lose 3 soldiers over in Jordan because of drone strikes. Like, we're not losing soldiers in other places because of attacks from Iran and Iran's affiliates. What are we doing paying attention to this crap when we've got real dangers on our own border right now? But they show the same stock footage of the same mom and a dad and a kid. But you know what? They're not showing the real story. They're not showing the unedited footage.
Would you guys agree that, and I believe this is true, right now, one of the fundamental threats, I think the biggest threat to the nation is the border, more so than we've ever seen. We've always had people coming across, but nothing like we're seeing now.
That's the second most dangerous, Clay. I believe Washington, D.C. is the first.
Okay, fair enough. We got problems in D.C. and
they're letting it happen,
and it's being multiplied and made worse down on the southern border by them. Absolutely,
they're letting it happen.
Gene Cox, what's he saying? He said, "Mike, did you get your 8mm Mauser hookup?" Yeah,
I did, and I didn't get a chance to call you back, Gene. I'm sorry about that. It's been a hectic week all week long, but I will get with you, and you can always use a little more, right? You can always use more ammo.
Always use more.
Hey, for the Taylor Swift thing, I got a quick comment about her. You know, she's been Biden supporting since he came in office. You know, 95% of her songs are about choosing the wrong guy.
Well,
could be. I don't know. Never listened to her. Go figure.
Well, due to the fact that I work in radio and on the countryside, we don't play much of her anymore. But yeah, we used to play that stuff. And
so, does she actually? Has she been through a lot of boyfriends? I've heard that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's her.
Yeah.
You know, after a while, you got to say, maybe it's me.
Yeah, maybe it's me.
Maybe that'll be the next song.
Maybe
it's me.
She's making too much money off of. It's all them.
Gene says just one more round.
Just one more.
So, anyway, I guess I don't have a whole lot on the board. I think it's one of the fundamental threats. I really do. I do believe that other than people coming over, I think there's people with guns coming over, probably at a bigger rate than we've ever seen. We'll know soon because you'll see them. And did you see what happened in the United States Senate here about a week or two ago? The Democrats, of course, they wanted to introduce legislation that would allow any of the illegals give them guns and let them be police officers in the nation. There's a good idea.
And join the military.
And join the military, too.
It goes right along with the aspects. I believe it's, if I'm not wrong, it's Range versus Garland. It's one of the things in the Supreme Court right now is talking about felons being able to recover their gun rights as well. So, you commit crimes.
You can, as a felon, recover them depending on what it was. I mean, I don't think a guy that stole millions of dollars and then paid his debt to society, he's a felon, right? It means to lose his guns forever. But if you murdered somebody, depending on how bad it was, you might be going to prison for life or even the death penalty. But if you have a sentence and it's carried out and you're out, so does that person instantly get him restored? Or can he prove his way back? There are there's types of felonies where you do lose them and you don't lose them. And you should be able to have them restored for nonviolent things for sure.
One of the problems I think with that would be is that you would end up having a better chance of getting your rights restored if you had the money.
Yeah.
And
There's
that's
lots to be
not
said for
that's
that.
not the right side about it. It's like,
No.
you know what, we're supposed to be, equal in our United States under the law, and that's not true. We're not. So whoever has the better lawyer, or whoever has the most crafty lawyer, basically can come up with things for his client, but you and me kind of get left behind.
And it's been that way, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's
Oh, yeah.
perfect. It's
I'm
better than
not
what other
naive.
countries have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been, if you've got a lot of money, you can probably keep yourself out of jail for a lot more heinous crime. Maybe that, the misdemeanor stuff, but the more money you got, probably the easier it is to do a worse crime. I know that's not a good thing, but it's probably the truth, because you can hire a lawyer and get out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of loopholes out there. And where does that line come? A lot of people would say that's a reason for red flag laws. I disagree.
Yeah.
I will live with a dangerous freedom before I will ever take tyranny with no due process.
Living with dangerous freedom is a better option than trusting a tyrannical government.
Right. And so, I mean, even that, you look at that, Mike, just think about that. Can you imagine if we didn't have the system we have? It's not perfect. There's no doubt about that.
Well, that's one of the things I fear most about there being a so-called civil war in the United States, or a second revolution, is that means that the laws and the rights that we have lived with, and our parents and our grandparents have all lived with for 238 years,
Mhm.
I think I got that wrong, would be null and void. And that's the problem right there, is that, they don't care that happens, because they would like to have a reset. They would like to do away with the Second Amendment and the First Amendment and all the other amendments, and
so they want to do away with the United States Constitution.
Yeah, and do away with the Constitution and put a new thing in there that will have, all inclusiveness and this and that, and
well, they want you to be governed under a one world government,
which is why they're taking history and
out of the schools.
Took prayer out of schools years ago, which is why they're getting our children away from our history and away from God, so that they can start transforming it into what they want it to be, communism.
Yes. And that gentleman that I had the meeting with today, guys, that's exactly what him and I started talking about, as far as what's happening in the country. Where is it going? Why is it going that way? And exactly the reasons you just stated. If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. That's
and
just
you don't know
a
what
given.
you're losing.
And if you don't know your rights, if you don't teach government, they don't teach civics anymore. They don't hardly teach government.
That's right.
And if you don't know what your rights were, how are you ever going to know you lost them?
That's right. You don't know what you're losing. You don't know what you have.
But you are correct, Mike. I mean, let's face it, we're seeing this played out right now. So we've seen a weaponized, and I hate to sound like the parrot media, but it has been. You got a Department of Justice now that's been told by a tyrannical tyrant in the White House, you go out and you try to put this man in jail, which is Donald Trump, whether you like him or not. What's happening in the courts is a kangaroo court, and he's the only man. Luckily, he's got money, a lot of it. It's costing him millions and millions and millions of dollars to defend himself over the last 3 years. He's probably the only guy that could do it. I think he'll prevail, but after a big, huge appellate process, who knows? It might not even be wrapped up before the election.
Yeah.
And that's not right either. But he's, if that was you or me, we'd be put away for 90 years.
Yeah. And your appeal will be coming in 5 to 10 years, that type of thing. So.
Yeah. In fact, if it was you and me, we probably wouldn't be in that situation. They'd have just shot us.
True.
For saying the things. But is it a perfect system? No. Is it better than probably all the other systems? Yeah. But yeah, we definitely, I don't know how we fix it. Money speaks. If you can hire the right lawyer, the good lawyers. I mean, you've heard me argue in front of things. I'm pretty swift with words.
You? What? You?
One of the problems, and we have a system for the government to run, and one of the problems I have is putting bills up in the Senate and in the Congress, and then attachments to them. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you don't work enough during the week at DC as it is to tell me that you don't have time to sit there and read stuff and everything
Right.
else. You don't work full time there anyway, and you're making 187,000, and oh, it's so expensive to do this. And I'm like going, you know what? I'll do it, and I'll get something done. Here's the deal: you are not doing your job in Washington D.C. You are the reason why we are supposed to be able to trust our representatives to go there and in good faith dish out what we believe should be the laws of the land. And like Vance said earlier, gun laws, too many of them, way too many that overlap each other and contradict each other and go back and forth, back and forth. You know what? That has made things so unbelievably crazy for people to have to jump through hoops to legally get a gun. That, you know, hey, criminals, all they got to do is come up with a couple $100 and there you go. And they stole that anyway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, I got to throw this out here, guys. So I just checked all of our platforms. So with everything, including Rumble, our website, my personal YouTube, Facebook, we're actually sitting at just shy of 28. So that we didn't lose everybody. Some did drop off. So thanks for hanging in there. I just got to thank everybody because they went and that's our guys. That's your true supporters because they went and searched a new way, and here they are. So it's a good lesson for the rest of us. If you want to, you'll find a way, and that's on anything.
You were talking earlier about Canada or about the truckers moving over to Texas, and I read a story just about 2 weeks ago talking about how the trucking protest up in Canada 2 years ago,
I remember
basically, which was shut down by Trudeau. And all the police and whatnot, was done illegally because he turns out he lied about the reasonings why he wanted to close it all down. They lied about what the people all had, and the fact that most of them were completely peaceful. I'm not saying everybody, but most of them were completely peaceful, and they end up shutting them down, locking most of them up, and everybody that's gone through the court system has now had their cases dropped, but that's still 3 years out of their life that has been in turmoil. But for the government, they don't care. I mean, it's not their money, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So a couple guys here, they said it's shut down, which we knew. It won't let them watch on our Facebook page or the web page. I don't know what to tell you on that. I was just on both of them and it's working. So you may have to go over to the Rumble page, try that one out. I don't know what else to tell you because I just was on them and it is working. So everyone's sending us stuff. So I sure appreciate it.
Our good buddies at Covert Ops just shared our post.
Cool.
Yeah, Covert Ops. I shared it on their Sportsman's Watch and
Rax team.
And I know we all my pages, Rax, Covert Ops, Sportsman's Watch, and Guns and 701. We get shadow banned by Facebook. They don't
all the time.
We get shadow banned because of the hunting, the guns, and the truth.
And the truth. So I'm gonna get to a few comments here. Dave, he chimes in here and he says, I am currently helping a guy that got put in a bad position. His roommate's girlfriend attacked him. Then went to the police. They came and reported him that the roommate's girlfriend was his girlfriend and labeled the restraining order as an intimate partner, which would ban him from owning firearms. Now, wow. And this is what I'm getting at. This is the problem with some of these feel-good laws when essentially anybody can go and report you. And it's like in some states, a lot of states, if you file for divorce, it's an automatic temporary restraining order. And you know what they want to come do? Take your firearms into possession until that's done. That's not right. Just because you're getting divorced. I mean, that's the problem with that kind of stuff. Keith says it sounds like Canada. A lot of that stuff does.
Yeah.
Gene's like, no one can tell me how Trump got convicted of an insurrection or even accused. Only a committee of Democrats call him that. Exactly. He didn't commit an insurrection. You know, when that was happening, guys, and I heard that word, probably 12 hours after it was taking place, I started hearing that word insurrection. I knew they were going to label it that for a reason. Yeah. We know why now, don't we?
Absolutely.
They thought they could use the 14th Amendment for that. And that is not what the 14th Amendment is about. And if you don't know what it is, go look it up and read it while you're there. Read the rest of it because there's a lot of good stuff in that.
And they've been throwing darts at that guy for 10 years now. And
maybe you suppose this will get us banned?
How How
They've
dare
been
you
throwing
have
darts at
access
Trump
to
for
freedom?
10 years and absolutely nothing sticks. They're scared of him. So they're going to find anything and everything they can to take him down.
Yeah. Lynette's asking, she says, I wonder which news channel will cover the trucker protest. I've seen it covered pretty good on Real America's Voice on when they do their news stuff. Stitchfield actually was talking about it. Of course, Bannon was talking about it on the War Room. So it gets covered on that channel. I can't tell you what the other ones are doing because I don't watch them.
Well,
Guys,
I'll tell you
there
what
was
the other
also-
ones are doing.
There's
ahead, Vance.
also, I'll try to find the link and send it to you later. A bunch of farmers
Over in
were
Europe.
we're
right?
lining up down there to also stand and protest on the border.
Oh, okay. Well, I know in Europe, the guys, the farmers, they were lining their tractors up in protest to some of the stuff over there.
And
That's what
dumping
they're doing
manure
here,
in
too.
they were dumping manures in the mayor's offices and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I love that.
And
Yeah.
Real America's Voice had it on, but the BBC was covering it. I'm starting to be like Mike. I'm starting to go look at the foreign news.
Sometimes, as much as they're
they
left-leaning
report more of
too,
our news than
they
here.
report more of our news in our state, in our United
Yeah.
States, than we hear from our own networks.
And it might be more accurate because they have no skin in the game.
That's
Right.
true.
It is. It's interesting to watch some of the foreign news. So, all right. Well, guys, I tell you what, I think you got anything you want to do? Otherwise, we can wrap this up on the board
let's
and
take
we'll
a
come back.
commercial break. Take a commercial
Yeah.
break, and then I got to talk to you guys about subscription services.
Yeah, we got that. And we're going to try to touch on mental health and what that means to gun owners because it is important. A lot of things going on with mental health treatment and diagnosis, but we'll be right back after our great sponsors.
Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Discover the world of firearms at Bismarck's Double H Gun Shop. With a wide range of products from handguns to rifles, we cater to all your shooting needs. We are your local gun experts. Not only do we sell firearms, reloading supplies, targets, and whatever your heart desires, but we also have a ton of knowledge and answers.
We shoot, we hunt, we compete, we reload.
It's been the Howard's way since 1976, and we ain't fixing to change anything. Visit our website at hhgunshop.com to browse our inventory. Double H Gun Shop, Bismarck's best new and used firearm reloading supply, gunsmithing, and sporting goods store. Double H Guns.
Double H Guns.
1021 South Washington Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Call 701-223-4888.
All right. Again, thanks to our great sponsors. We can't do it without them, and we're glad to have them on board with us. So, with that, we got, let's see, Josh Patterson says he's watching on Facebook now and it's working. Lynette says, yeah, I wonder which news channels will cover the trucker post. And Carrie, thanks for tuning in. Manure in the streets of Germany. Yes, yes,
That
ma'am.
was pretty good. That was pretty good.
So, all right, we're going to let Mike take this because we did a little experiment and we were talking about this, a few weeks ago, these different things like battle boxes and whatnot. And
Subscription boxes, yeah.
yeah, so go ahead and take it away.
Well, I've got some video, but I don't have it ready for you yet. I don't have it edited up. I got my first battle box, which I was going to do the review on, and you'll love seeing my face when I open the box. And of course, the first thing you expect is something that you can use in survival situations. That's what kind of battle box is. Something that is useful when you're out and about outside your home. Well, I got American-made products, but I got 20 tablets to put electrolytes in my drink, in my water, in my first box. I got from Maine, locally sourced in Maine. I got 4 chips that start a fire with. And And that's exactly what they are. And it's a very nice little tin that comes in as well. And I got a book on how to camp.
It sounds like the tin was probably the most valuable thing.
The tin was the only thing that's the first thing I pulled out too, because I thought it looked cool, and I opened it up and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I could see that. You can carry that around, and quick little fire. It's supposed to be non-scented and non-smoked or what, so it doesn't smoke as much or whatever. I don't. But once you start the fire, I figure, why does that matter? It's going to be scented and smoked and wood. Anyway, the book was my best part because how to go camping. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how many different ways can I use this book to start Kindle? And is the one thing I was thinking of.
Or toilet paper or Kindle.
Well, the problem with that is it's all
Did
laminated.
you read any of it? Did you read?
I did. It's all laminated, and it's a little difficult for, it's a little slick for the toilet paper.
I mean, how do they suggest you go camping?
Well, lay down in the woods, start a fire.
Take bottled water with you.
Yeah, take lots of cases of bottled water
and use these electrolytes.
Now I'm going to try them out, and I'm going to put them on video, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. And Vance is going to get the second box. We might upgrade him a little bit so he's not as depressed as I am. But
so let me ask you, Mike.
Yeah.
After looking through it, is there anything in there that you couldn't get from nature itself if you educated yourself?
Educated. I like educated.
I'm from the South, y'all.
He's in Georgia. That's all right. It's an approved word.
If you educated yourself on how to use the resources of nature,
right?
Because it sounds to me like those are good things to have, but you can get them from nature.
Right,
too.
right, exactly. I mean, it's really, there was a box of stuff that was easy to replicate in any other ways.
Right.
I was really. Maybe because we bought the lowest tier first. That's why I was saying when we send one to you, Vance, and you do your videos, that we should send you the next tier to see if it gets any better. But yeah, right. That first tier was a depressor right there. And Clay got to talk to the guys there too, because we were vetting these guys before we actually bought from them. We wanted to see if they were good supporters. And Clay had some good conversations with a couple of the owners, and they turned out to be okay, except for one of the guys, but they kind of they ignore him anyway.
Basically.
But yeah, I was downright depressed when I got this thing. And like I said, I'll edit up the film. I'm still learning how to edit film. Once I edit up the film, you're gonna love my facial expressions, because I was looking back at it myself, and it was just kind of like, oh yay, I got this. I got a book. Yay.
Well, you're going to have to start sending them with a bottle of Pendleton just in case they're a disappointment.
Well, that might not be a bad idea. But yeah. Well, the other side of it is that I've got another video that I'm working on. I have discovered a couple of important facts about the hatchet that I ordered, that I went out and was going to make a quick shelter. I've learned a couple of things. One is that store-bought hatchets from the internet tend not to be that great. I might as well be hitting the tree with a fish. And I'm out of shape, because apparently when you don't have an edge on that dang thing, it takes a lot more to chop wood. And so I laid down, I had some logs, big logs that were there. I laid down some bedding, some tree branches with some bedding. And I was going to put bedding down over top of that, and then start working on the frame over top to try to show how it works. And I filmed some of it, and then I was just like, I was exhausted. But at the same time, like I said, I was like hitting the trees with a pool noodle. It was tough. And yeah, so you might be able to buy cool looking stuff off Temu and all these other sites and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, just spend the money and buy something that it doesn't look super fancy, doesn't have the SOC, tactical look to it.
Tactical.
Yeah, get something that is, that your grandfather probably would have owned, and either a hatchet or something like that, because like I said, my son's going to have to put a super edge on that damn thing, because it was terrible. Because I think after a couple of hits, it was gone.
Was done.
And I was wiped. Trying to do that, and I didn't get the video done. I had to stop midway because I was pretty exhausted. But yeah, I'm going to put it together either way, and I'm going to post it on our sites here in the next couple of days. So yeah, it was
1 to 10. What would you give it? 10 being great, 1 being not good.
like I said, buying the Temu version of a hatchet just because it looks like it's got everything you need, that was definitely a 1. That was a 1. I mean, I'll tell you, it does have a fire starter in the top of the little case that it comes in, and that's fine because the fire starter does work. But that I could have just bought the fire starter. I probably could have cut more wood with the fire starter. With the fire
And
stick.
you know, in today's world, fire starters, those survival fire starters, are not as valuable as these tactical companies make them sound.
Tactical.
There's too many ways to start fires nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, back in the flintlock days when you had to, you know, smack them together, and you didn't have the resources of Bic on every corner. And I mean, I'm not even a smoker, but I bet you I have 40 lighters.
Yeah. I know.
There's resources for fire nowadays.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Like I said, I want to put I'm not going to not put the videos together because I need to show the reality of it.
Right.
Yeah. One thing is you got to be in better shape, and like I said, I've lost 20-something pounds since December, and I had an open heart surgery, and you know I'm working past that, and I just didn't realize that I'm not that young guy anymore. So I might have to have Jack do my. I'll film him doing the things for me because that's tough. I'll tell you what, survive. I mean, there was times when I was traveling across the country and down south and over in Europe and whatnot that I walked for days and days, and this was killing me. So yeah, it was a tough one. I've definitely at 56 have lost a step or two. So, but anyway, so the hatchet does not get a good thing. Battle box, I'm gonna do a couple videos with it, but I'll give you guys the reviews here coming up in a couple days. But not overly impressed at the present moment, but we'll get videos out on that, and then we'll send the second tier to Vance and let him try it out, and hopefully he gets something besides a whoopee cushion and more books, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
So there you have it, guys.
He'll get those socks with the toes in them. That's what he'll get. So.
Oh man, now I'm gonna be looking forward to that. Now I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't, Mike.
Oh,
there you go.
So Gene, he chimed in. He said, "I got to run." I'm getting ready for a rifle match in a couple weeks. Mike, if you reload the Mauser, I was going to mention Sleeping Giant Brass out of Aberdeen. They go to the gun shows. Not sure if they get to your part of the world, but Dakota Terra Gun Collectors Association does a show in Mitchell. So,
yep, I know those guys. That'll be good. That'll be good. Hey, speaking about guns for 1 second, because that's what we do. I was checking out Jamie's 701 Nation last week.
Yes.
And he was running through a bunch of good stuff. Him and Scott Buckmeyer. It was a pretty good show. And one of the things I got one of my ARs is a Panther DPMS. And one of the things he was talking about is in the cold weather, especially when you're going out for varmint hunting, in the cold weather, one of the things that works best for him on the AR is 2-stroke motor oil. He says the 2-stroke oil, or the 2-stroke oil that you use, I guess, for your
gas
or whatever.
2-stroke
Two cycle. Thank you. So yeah, it says it works really well. So I'm going to have to give that a try. Go out and do some more shooting here in the snow and all that, because my son wants to go do some coyote hunting and some calling here in the next week. But it's one of those things where if you get a chance to tune in for not only Guns in the 701, but also for 701 Nation with Jamie and Scotty, of course, they've got some good things going on there, and they're talking about some good stuff. They were doing the rifle rounds last week as well, and what's the best and this and that, and so it was pretty cool. I enjoyed the show.
It's actually not the first time I've heard that about 2-stroke motor oil. I don't use Rem oil is my go-to, but yeah, I mean, it isn't the first time I've actually heard that said. Anyway,
yeah. What you got, Vance?
Dave chimed in. He says, I either use a dry lube or no lube at all for the firing pin raceway. We're still talking guns?
Yep. Oh my.
You knew that was coming, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, that was good.
I'm going to message Jamie here and ask him. I know he's got another one scheduled, another 701 Nation. We'll get that and let everybody know too. When is the next 701 Nation, Jamie? Let us know.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
You don't want to get it stuck in the cold. Yeah, that's right.
No, I can tell you this. Like I said, I've always had good luck with Rem oil. I've never had any issues with it. That's kind of what you do with it, where you put lube, in your gun too, is where it's going to get sticky. I'm sure Dave can attest to that. So yeah, good.
And that you use it. A lot of people don't clean their guns as much as
They should.
They should clean their guns.
That's for sure. That's for sure. No, I thought it was a great show. I caught it finally. I didn't catch it live, but I did get to review it. And yeah, I thought it was a great show. It's a great addition to Guns and 701. So yeah. And tune in, like I said, 701 Nation. He's going to try to do 2 a month. I believe the next show is going to feature sausage making from the guys up there in that Dickinson area, the Worst Wagon, I believe is what they called themselves. I know that they're great stuff up there. So be tuning in for that. I'm sure Jamie will be promoting it. I don't know if we'll be going live on YouTube next week, but we definitely, if this gets appealed and they overturn it, we will. Otherwise, we got to wait a week. So just so you guys know that, we'll be everywhere else. So. And look, thanks again. Like over there on Rumble, I can see it. People have tuned in there. So thanks for going over there. Rumble does not nix you for, I have not found anything they nix anybody for. So
Good.
I like Rumble.
Good.
Just harder to use.
Well, and another thing, you guys are going to be gone here in a week or two, right? Aren't you?
I'll be gone next week, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll be gone next week. I'll be around next week.
Yeah.
I should be back by Wednesday pretty easily. That's the plan anyway. I'm not going to tell
And
you
then the following week, me and you will be in Florida.
Yeah, 15th, we're rolling out of here, heading down to Florida, a group of us, and going to have some fun. Axe is joining us, LAUER Auto owner, along with Eric and Dave and Corey and Waylon and myself. So yeah, we're meeting up with the guys down in Florida. Going to have some fun.
We might get some new we'll get some new intros out of it too. So some good
we just might. I know I'm taking my
might.
camera. I'm sure Eric's bringing all his stuff. I'm probably going to bring my Tacticam, but we got a guy bringing a thermal. Eric's going to have his night vision. We're going to have some toys down there. We're going to have hopefully have some good video. I'm really hoping for it. So
that'll be good.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Jamie sent me a message. He says, Jamie just watched it on the website. He said, Scott said about the 2-stroke oil, I don't really buy into that philosophy. So Scott's the one that was talking about it. I prefer to use the Gen 2 Rem oil. And that's what I'm using. I really like the Rem oil and have a lot of a good experience with that. Friday, February 16th, 7 p.m. Central Time, having the Warner guys on from the Worst Shop in Dickinson to talk sausage making. So there we go, guys. And Jolene just chimed in there. February 9th, Brian and his dad, who used to own the Worst Shop. All right, there we go. So looking forward to it, guys. I'm going to be gone. I'm leaving tomorrow, and I won't be back. We're going down to the stock show as usual. You guys have all been there. Well, Mike's not allowed to play with us anymore.
No,
he got in trouble.
To play with you. Yeah,
we're bad influence. But,
whenever your friends say, when your wife is yelling at you on a phone text and you're downstairs drinking with everybody, and your friends say to you, "Don't send that message." And you say, and you send it anyway.
Mike goes, send. And she came downstairs fast.
Yeah.
I wish
I've never seen my wife move so fast, as a matter of fact.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show, yeah. But now we can talk about it. It's funny, right?
It's fun.
But anyway. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, let's go into this right away. The mental illness thing, and I know Vance can touch on this too. He's dealt with it along with Mike. Mike's probably, you're the one that kind of brought it up. And I'm just going to say this, mental illness, it's a real thing. Okay. It comes in all forms, but there's a lot of people being untreated, especially veterans. And I know why, because I've spoke with them. They're afraid of going into the VA and then being labeled that they came in for such and such a treatment. And then they have their guns removed. And this is a real thing happening and I understand, and it's bad. You shouldn't have to feel like going in there to get the help you need is going to make you lose your Second Amendment rights. So I'll let you guys take it from there.
Well, it comes right down to the simple fact that, you know what, you want people to be able to go and get help from these systems that supposedly are here to help us. And we can't get it, not from the VA, not from other places, and not from your doctor, because they're all dictated that if you say certain words, you are deemed a danger. Now, danger to yourself, maybe. Danger to others, maybe. But you know what? That's all of interpretation. Here's the thing is, how many people out there have terrible thoughts all the time and never break down? But it's not a bad thing that you're acknowledging that you're having those thoughts and you need some help and someone to talk to. That's what you're saying. But they want to come in and take away your rights to own and possess a gun, to be able to buy guns and everything else, because you're the next crazy one on the thing. But that's not the people we're seeing doing these crazy things at schools and at shopping malls and whatnot. That's
Right.
not the people we're seeing do these things.
No.
We're talking about hardworking people that work every day and have tough jobs and tough lives, and they want to try to get through something. They want to talk, and they can't. And I've talked about it. I thought that the NRA and states that are have, of course, Republican governors should have policies or at least some sort of setup there where you have a phone number that you can call, just like the overbag system. Just like the overbag system, that you could call and say, hey, I've got terrible things happening in my life right now, and I need somebody to talk to. And you know what? And that's all it is. They'll have someone there to talk to you and get you through the tough points, let you talk it out. Because sometimes that's all you need. You just need to be able to talk it out. And and that's what needs to be there, but not a punishment system because you have a mental failing once in your life or many times in your life. I mean, we all know people that came from different lives that have struggled because of their parents, because of the grandparents, because of sisters and brothers and everything else around them. Sometimes things fall apart. We do our very best to try to keep ourselves upright and work our way through the day. But sometimes we just need to talk to somebody, and it's not always easy to be able to talk to somebody, especially when you get older and you're a veteran and whatnot. I mean,
absolutely.
You don't want to go to you don't want to go down to the VA, or you don't want to go to the VA because you're worried they're going to turn you in. You're afraid to go down to the VFW and talk to those guys because everybody wants to guard their feelings. I just say it's a difficult no-win situation for some of our veterans and some other people out there that don't want their rights taken away just because they want help.
I'd love to hear more, and I think my son's on here, and I know Keith was on here earlier, so we have some very well knowledgeable, unfortunately through some sad situations, veterans on here that could enlighten us on how they and their brothers in arms and sisters in arms deal with the mental illness and being afraid to go to the VA because of those situations. There's John Boy now.
And think about it. Think about it too. If you're in the military and you go and ask for help right now, you're limiting your career possibilities in the future because now that's in your report. That's in your file.
Yeah.
Yes.
So instead of giving people the help they need to be able to get through this, instead we've got this fake system set up where all it is a testifying report. And they just sit there and they'll say, yeah, you're right. You need some help. And next thing you know, people are knocking on your doors and your rights are no longer yours.
True.
And how about, a lot of liberals want to discuss mental illness, but they're letting 5-year-olds decide whether they're a guy, or a boy, or a girl.
Well, that's different. That's different.
They're letting the cross-dressers come into kindergarten and read to 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's mental illness.
Absolutely. It is.
Not a guy who has gone through some hard knocks and needs to vent a little bit. I mean, where is the fine line between what's mental illness and just, man, I need to get this off my chest?
Absolutely.
There's a difference.
Big difference. Big difference. And that's what's happening. These guys are, like I said, they feel like they can't go in there because what they're going to be putting in their permanent records and how that's going to be used against them. It's going to affect not just Second Amendment rights. It's going to affect a whole bunch of stuff in their life.
Right.
For going in there because they got something going on in their head and they're trying to get that help. I mean, the best place to me is always a pastor. Find your pastor. You should have that strong relationship with your pastor in your church. But if you don't, then yes, you need to go get some help. And seek it elsewhere. Seek the help. I mean, go where you're comfortable, I guess. But if you don't go in, that's when we have the problems. That's where you get the people who finally snap. You hear, oh, he just snapped. Well, what was going on before that happened?
What drove him to that?
What drove him to it? And as you guys all know, and I'm not going to bring up who it is, you know who it is. We got an issue right now going on down here for the same reason. What led up to this? Should that individual have gotten some help, talked to someone, took some advice? I don't know how it's going to end yet, but you know what I'm talking about, and I do worry about that. It's the same situation as good guy, never had any issues that way. but he's never talked to nobody and won't talk to nobody. Pretty much is he is, he's got a church, but he doesn't he's not active at it anymore. It's a bad deal. They need to be able to talk to somebody, because I guarantee you, as tough as everybody thinks they are, they need somebody at some point in their life, probably several times, to talk to.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We're lucky enough. We got wives we can talk to. We've got kids we probably can talk to. Don't be afraid to talk to your kids about things. They might be younger than you, but they might have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to some things.
And I'm amazed.
A fine point, Clay, is look at what John just put up about the military. What we were just talking about, Mike was just talking about a few minutes ago.
Right there.
He's actually had friends that have taken their own lives because they couldn't get the help that they needed. They were afraid of the VA.
Right. And that's not what we made a promise when you signed your name on that dotted line, payable with your life to defend this country. We need to take care of that people. And we're not doing it.
No.
The VA is a
we
failure
failed
at
that.
this. And it was starting to get better, I heard, from 2016 to 2020 under Trump. And from what I understand, it's just went right back to what it was. And it's sad.
Recently the Navy released a statement that they are taking away the high school diploma requirement because they're having such a hard time getting people to join.
Now, the other branches made their quotas, but the Navy has not, and they have taken away the high school diploma requirement. So, I mean, to me, that's trying to fix a problem. That's trying to fix a problem with your glass with a hammer. I don't understand what you're doing. You're just breaking things more. I mean, we want to put the best and brightest in the military. And I'm saying that's what we have been doing. But for some strange reason, that's not good enough. Let's put the people that have not, GED can still get you in the military. I mean, you still can. But they're talking about even less than that. All you have to do is walk up and take a test. And that's perfect. And by the way, that would be a perfect thing to do if you were talking about a lot of immigrants, illegal aliens, coming up across the border, suddenly being allowed to go into the military and not having any documentation of any schooling. They wouldn't have to. They could simply take the test in whatever language they're given, and there they go. So
and that's
maybe that's an alternative route for it.
So here's the thing with the mental illness is, who determines that you're mentally ill? The government? Where's that line? Like I was saying earlier, there's been times in my life where I felt stressed and like, man, I could just punch somebody in the face. I'm just so stretched out. But all I really needed to do was vent, pray, talk to my pastor, get some things off my chest. I wasn't disturbed here. Not that I haven't been at times. But people get pressure on them. People deal with situations differently, and it may not be mental illness. It's just straight up stress.
Right.
So who is the government to tell us that you're mentally disturbed? We're taking your guns.
Well, that's just it.
You punch the guy in the face. Some people need punching in the face.
I look back at when the time frame you and me, we all grew up in. Who knows what they'd have classified us as in school?
Right.
In all reality, and especially as we got to be men, because we were men, and that's a whole nother discussion. That's why they don't want us to be men. They just want you to be servants of, I don't know, nothing. They don't want people who have ideas, thoughts. They want to stand for something. They want to be men. They want to be that man. They don't want that anymore. They're trying to dismantle the family unit, especially men in the country. There's no doubt about that. Let's get to a couple of these here. John, he says something about, I definitely haven't had my own demons to deal with numerous times in my life, but I don't go to the VA when it comes to that stuff. I'm lucky to have a really good support circle and good friends to vent to. Exactly. And I'm sure you're part of that circle, Vance, especially being a pastor.
And his dad.
I mean, he's right. That support circle is important, so important, especially for people in those situations. Well, that says it's a governmental agenda. Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. Let's see. What a change. In the greatest generation, people lied about their age so they could serve. Now we are so desperate we have to lower the standards to get people to serve. Jolene Warner says that, and that's right.
Very good point.
And
Very good point.
there is something to be said about not wanting to serve for some people. Now, if you think about it, if you've got a government that is just blatantly lying to its people, and I'm talking both sides of the aisle, and Bernie Sanders, because I don't know where he stands.
He's under the aisle.
Like
he's in his own aisle. So, you've got a whole society that lies to these kids.
that.
They
And
lies
Bernie
to these kids. And then they grow up to be adults, and then you're saying, well, you got to sign up for selective service. You got to go into this. And, they're like, why? Why would you serve something that lies to the people? I mean, seriously, why would you serve a country that lies to you? I mean, we want to protect what this country was built on. It's the people that have come after the greatest generation that have continually chipped away at what it means to be an American. Of course, you can't be manly. You can't be manly. You can't be womanly. You can't be a strong faith. You can't, have your convictions if it's not fitting in their mold. I mean, that's what it's come down to. So, and now we've pigeonholed everybody into different classes, into different groups, and we're supposedly the uneducated crazies over here. Well, we're not. We got the education. We're there. We've been through life. We know what we're talking about. We've been around situations with people. We've traveled. We know this world. We know this country. We've read the books that need to be read. And the question is that why are we the bad guys? We're not the bad guys. Maybe you need to start looking at the people that are pointing the finger at us and figure out that they don't have your goodness at heart. They don't have the best of the country at heart.
I don't think we have true constitutionalists anymore for the most part that run for office. They're doing it for money, power. They're doing it for all the wrong reasons. Some of them are running to literally, they admit it, to fundamentally change the country. Well, why do you need to fundamentally change it? I like a constitutional republic. I like our system when it's applied correctly. The Constitution protects our rights, and it actually doesn't even.
I want to see is it changing back.
Yes, and you look at the Constitution; it doesn't protect our rights; it affirms our rights, and it tells the government what it can't do to you. And those people who want to fundamentally change, they don't like that part of it. Obama himself, in a PBS interview, said, "Well, the problem with the Constitution is it tells you what you can't do for the people. It tells you what the government isn't allowed to do for the people." Think about that statement. The government isn't allowed to do for the people. I don't want you to do anything for me except leave me the hell alone. Period.
Yeah. Protect my border.
Yeah, that'd be the first one.
I like what Dave says there. He says the situation could be that they want mentally soft people to force them into a will against the country they vow to defend. I think that hits it pretty close. I really do. That I feel that. How do you control a populace that has ideas and strength and will fight you? And we have the means right now. That's why they're working so hard to get the Second Amendment. What was the first thing that happened in Nazi Germany? And when they invaded Poland and invaded all the Jewish communities, what did they do? They disarmed them people, remember?
Yeah.
For their safety. They
had nothing to fight
for their safety.
Yeah. That worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah.
50 million. And that's the ones we probably estimate. We don't really even know anymore. No. It's probably more than that. 50 million people. And they were executed. Let's just face it. That's what it was. It was execution by means of who they were. And people always say, well, that could never happen again. Yes, it could. It's still happening. Guys, it's happening in other countries, just not on that scale. But it's been happening. It's going to keep happening. And it could happen here. So, but we have one thing. We still have a Second Amendment. That's why it has not happened here. They can talk about all they want, how we could never win that battle. Then why don't they do it? If they hate our way of life, why don't they do
Clay,
it?
we were talking about Mitchell in the morning last week or so about Pennsylvania and their governor did an edict, or I guess you would say a executive order saying that everyone below the age of 18 wasn't part of the people in the Second Amendment. So therefore, under the age of 21, weren't the people, literally I'm doing the air quotes, people in the Second Amendment doesn't apply to them because they are not yet fully grown people.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's not going to
imagine
last
that.
in the courts. Yeah, it's going to be knocked down. But the simple fact that your so-called leaders are saying this, the bad part out loud, is what
Yeah,
we always
they
say.
are now. They absolutely aren't hiding it anymore, are they?
No.
I bet they took the taxes of those people when they started working at 18 years old, between the years of 18 and 21.
Absolutely they
Of
did.
those not yet
I guarantee you,
developed people.
at 18, if I didn't sign up for selective service, I would have found out about that, wouldn't
Hey,
I?
Vance, they were taking taxes from me before I turned 18 because if you were working
Oh yeah.
and making enough, you were paying in. And
Yeah.
what you
But
might
in
not
the
have had
state
an
of Pennsylvania,
but
you shouldn't have to because you're not a
you're not a
person yet.
person, right? Yeah. How
That's
about
right.
that? Not a person. Where have we heard that? You're not a person.
You're
before.
not a person.
That's right.
So,
So,
tell you what, we're going
yeah.
to take one more time out, guys. And then we got about 5-6 minutes left, and we're going to try to wrap it up. And I don't know, we'll come back and wrap it up. And I don't know. I didn't do a happy ending tonight. Did you? Any of you guys have one?
Oh,
No, I didn't do it. And it's okay because we were
Ah.
kind of all running behind the schedule. We'll do it next week. But let's go take a quick time out, and then we'll come back here and we'll give some closing thoughts and announce what's coming up. So,
okay.
Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
all right. So, all right. I guess, what do you guys want to start with? I'll let you go. How about you, Mike? Why don't you give us what your closing thoughts are today?
Closing thoughts is don't buy anything that you need to survive on from Temu.
Okay.
And
Or battle
maybe
box.
do a
That's
few
great.
maybe do a few extra sit-ups in the morning. Try to,
Make sure you can
yourself-
survive.
make sure you can survive.
Get those electrolytes.
I was about 180 yards away from my buddy's little ranch. I went out in the shelter belt out there pretty far, past his little pond he's got, and found a good location to film and everything. And I was like, I can just barely see the top of his work. He's got a little work building out there, and I thought this is a dumb way to die. And so yeah, I'll put those films out here soon. So that's pretty cool.
Sounds good. Well, and I guess my closing thoughts on the whole thing is I think we do need big mental health reforms, especially within the VA. And it could go way deeper than that. I've heard of even private doctors asking stupid questions just for going in for a regular checkup.
Right.
I haven't run across it yet, but I don't go to the doctors much. So all I can tell everybody is be vigilant, get involved. I know people think your vote don't matter. It does. Your voice is loud. Your voice matters mostly. Be loud. Don't put up with it. Don't sit in the corner. Don't let them say, just because it's not a popular thing to say, who cares?
Yeah.
Say it. I mean, I've always been shy about it, but everybody else, they should say it. But, I am done. I'm so done sitting in the corner, and I'm not taking it no more. And I am going to call it out. It's just like terminology means everything.
Yeah.
We always kind of joke about the clip versus mag thing, but it goes way beyond that. It definitely matters. Calling people illegal aliens versus migrants. You hear that in the drive-by media. They're calling them migrants now. They're all migrants. No, they're not. Terrorists are terrorists. Illegals are illegals. The clip is a clip and a mag is a mag. And if you don't know the difference, well, then you probably better look it up.
By the way, I'll have to do it up here. You see what Axel wrote?
Oh, what do you got up here? Well, let's see. He says, I want to see a comparison of you cutting down a tree with your axe versus a fish.
I'll do better with the fish. I really do. If it's frozen, I think I'll be all right.
And John, he says in here, they want to take away masculinity in men. Absolutely they do. And I know I reference Rush. I used to listen to him all the time, and he said it's a feminization of America, and he wasn't lying. We're seeing it right now. I remember when he talked about this. We need to close out here, but he was talking about NAMBLA. Remember? Do you guys know what that is?
Remember that?
Okay.
National Boys and Men.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to. We know what it is. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And he says this isn't going to stop here. They're going to want more and more and more. And that was a decade, over a decade ago when he was talking about that. And he was absolutely right. So, Dave, amazes me when you speak your mind how many people flee or give you the affection, like I am with your brother.
Right. You find out who your friends are when you're vocal enough.
I just want to close out my opinion on the border.
Okay.
There's a lot of people coming across that border that want to hurt us, that want to come here for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely.
They hate us for our religion, they hate us for our freedom, and they want everything we have because they can't have it. And I believe some of it is being imported by our own government, which might be a reach for a lot of people to believe, but that's what I believe.
It's happening.
But I also believe there's a lot of innocent people that are just seeking a better life, but that there's a better way for them to come here and have that better life. There's a legal way and a right way that will pay off for them in the long run if they do it right and come here through the open door and not over the fence.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I also want to jump into it real quick, like from a spiritual standpoint. The most common verse ever used in the Bible is John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. But we also have to go on to John 3:17, which I like so much. I have tattooed on my body that God didn't send his son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. We have to look at those people through the eyes of Jesus. They want better for themselves, and we have to love them and help them and be there for them. But we also, the ones that are coming to hurt us, we need to defend ourselves. Jesus wasn't afraid to turn over tables and chase people out of the synagogue when they were trying to destroy it and trying to do wrong by it. So we have to take up arms and defend when we need to, and be prepared and be ready spiritually and physically.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. It's pretty cut and clear. You don't hate people just because they're coming here, but they're coming here the wrong way. We can't allow that. We just can't.
Come through the door.
Come through the door, do it correctly, like millions have done over decades in this country.
And I enjoy and appreciate the fact that America is the melting pot that it is. I love Cuban food. I love Mexican food. I love Chinese food. I love the cultures that America has in it and that it's built on for hundreds of years now. But come in the right way.
Do it the right way.
And assimilate.
Absolutely. So before we completely close out, then I'm going to remind everybody we have Friday morning. We will not be on KFYR this week. Mike had some things going on. I do too. And they needed that spot. And Todd asked, so this wasn't like we were just thrown out. We said, yeah, that's fine. They're going to have Kevin Kramer on in our time slot next Friday. So if you want to tune in, that's what's going to be going on. We will be back next week, though, for sure. And, of course, Wednesday night we'll be maybe everywhere except on our YouTube channel. Don't know. Most likely they're going to give us that week suspension, but you can always hit it on my own personal one. I've seen that work just fine, and I'll leave that on here now and see if we get booted or not. I don't know. Hopefully they will take my appeal and say, nope, he didn't sell a gun. I mean, unbelievable. So anyway, tune in 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central. That's going to be right here where you're listening tonight. And again, on Friday morning, not this week, next week. And I don't want anybody to forget that Jamie's going to be, as we just cleared all that up, Jamie's going to have 701 Nation. That's going to take place on the 9th. The Worst Wagon at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, that'd be 6 p.m. Mountain. Tune in. Probably be really good. They're going to talk some sausage making. And then I'm just going to be hungry when I listen to that. So, but I guess with that, guys, I want to thank everybody for listening. And Vance, would you take us out with a prayer this evening?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the freedoms we have to gather and celebrate this great nation. And Lord, we just again lift up our representatives in Washington, D.C. and all over this great nation and ask that you touch and guide their hearts for godly decisions on a daily basis for this country. We pray for what's going on at the border, and we pray for protection in those states that are being directly affected, Lord. And we pray for those that are trying to come over innocently for a better life to come in the proper way so that they can have that better life. And Lord, for those that are coming here for foul purposes and wrong reasons, we pray that you touch and change their hearts, Lord, to see the light. And Lord, we thank you and we love you, and we thank you for this show and the lives that it's touching and the truth that it's being told. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, again, guys, thanks for tuning in and sticking with us again for getting nixed, and that's why we created the website. I imagine someday we'll probably be permanently banned. Who knows? And hey, we're one subscriber away on CommieTube to make 2,000 subscriptions. So tell your friends or friend, maybe you only got one. Tell them to subscribe. Let's hit that 2,000. Get on. What's that?
That's it. I got YouTube, and that's all
you need, right? That's right. That's right. So
and whaling.
And whaling. And whaling.
So whaling. There's always whaling.
I got a whaling.
We got a whaling. That's right. All right, guys. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, fellas. It was a good show. I thought tonight, a lot of fun. We're about a month into this, so it's kind of fun. I really enjoy it.
Yep.
Jamie, if you're still listening, we'll see you later. We talk about daily anyway. So, again, keep your powder dry, everybody, and join us next week. See you all later.
God bless.